Alright gang, welcome back to our competitive one-tile challenge here on Farmlands, and I have already moved myself off of steering assist for some reason. That's a little weird. Anyway, it is August, and we've got quite a lot to do again today. I feel like it's a repetitive statement from the last episode, but as you saw in the last episode, it was extremely busy for us. Maybe slightly less busy today, because we don't have to do everything that we did in the last episode, but we certainly want to get a good amount done. Now, I have had to make a few changes between the last episode and now. I had to sell a few more things to be able to afford to do so. So the setup I did in the last episode, if you watch to the very end, once again, there was bonus content after I did my closing. I had to move my cow pasture manure heap. Where I had tested this off camera, and it worked fine. Pretty much the exact same setup, not the same exact map, obviously, but you know, a separate save file of this same map, I should say. And I tried to set it up exactly as I had it here, and it worked fine in that separate save file. But here, for whatever reason, it was acting like it was not connected to that manure heap. So I had to modify things again, which means, unfortunately, I had to sell more stuff. Now, with selling that more stuff, I actually ended up buying a few more animals as well. Specifically, we have a few more pigs than what we left off with, and I have 2 more cows than where we left off with. So we have 12 instead of 10, which is where you probably saw in the last episode. Also, somebody pointed out to me that you didn't need to put TMR in here. I could just do grass. Evidently, here on this map, you can just do grass for the cows. But that's okay. TMR is not super expensive in regard to that, and really we didn't have a whole lot of grass to put in there anyway, so that's okay. If we lost a little bit of money there, we lost a little bit of money there. Now, what I can tell you is that for the pigs, I spent way too much money on the pig food, so they're not going to need food for a while. We only have 24 pigs in here. I've got 58,000 not 58,000 liters. That's a lot. 58,000 liters of straw, but 16,000 liters of food in there for 24 pigs. They're not going to need to eat through that for quite a while. So we won't have to worry about the pigs for a while, but you know, nonetheless, I did spend a little bit too much on the pig food. So it is what it is. Anyway, otherwise, everything else is working. They're making slurry. They're making manure on the pig pen. Same thing is occurring here with the cows. We're making slurry. We're making manure. We're also making milk. So all of those things are great. That's what I was hoping for, and that's what I wanted. But again, as I mentioned, I did have to make a bit of a modification to the way it's set up, and I will show you that here in a little bit. Now, realistically, in hindsight, I probably should have went this route to begin with, but I didn't. I was trying something different off camera. It worked, as I mentioned. Just for whatever reason, it didn't register like it was working here, even though it showed when I put it down that it was connected. After I skipped a few months, it once again went back to no manure pit nearby. So had to make some modifications there. Nothing major. Just kind of flipped where some of the crickets were in comparison to the manure. I'll show it to you in a second. As a matter of fact, you could probably see it from here, but I'll show it to you in a second. But yeah, we ended up losing a tiny bit of money there in the process of that as well. So if we end up losing the series, we can account that as part of the problem there. Now, what I can tell you is we are likely going to be selling some chickens today. Our chicken coop is maxed out. For the first time, it is maxed out. Our chicken coop holds 1,200. Well, I think it's 1,205. I think is what the exact number is. But it makes no difference. 1,200 chickens, and we have 1,200 chickens in there. So it's time for us to sell a few so we can continue to make that reproduction happen, and we can continue to make some more money as we move along here with the eggs. We've got a lot of eggs over there. I'm sure you saw that during that turnaround. We've got a lot of eggs over there. So that's going to be good money when it comes time to sell those, which is coming up here in a couple of months. So good there. I sold pretty much all of the fertilizer that we had, the solid fertilizer we had. I was planning on saving a little bit of it. I had to because of having to move all that stuff around. I ended up having to, but you know, that's fine. Ended up working out in the end, and we're at least going to be moving forward here with slurry and manure that we can utilize to help continue to beef up that BGA a little bit more. How's everyone doing today? I hope you're all doing well. We were very concerned that we weren't going to be able to get a second episode out of the One Tile Challenge this week. Turns out we're going to be able to do so. We were able to get together Sunday night, which normally that's not the case, but we were able to do so. And, yeah, we're cruising along now. So I'm getting this field plowed up because, honestly, I'd like to put canola back into this field pretty much immediately. I had thought about waiting, but I think I'm going to put canola back into here just because I can turn that into canola oil with our mill. We might as well utilize what we have here. I had thought about maybe putting soybeans in here or maybe sorghum or something else, but we might as well go ahead and do canola now. So that's what we're going to do. We're also going to get the rest of the straw up on the far field back there. We didn't get that done in the last episode, so we'll take care of that today. All of that straw we're going to get up there, I think we're going to put directly into the BGA. I don't think there's a real reason for us to put any of that into the cows. As you can see, they have plenty right now. Similar situation for the pigs. We don't have a ton of pigs right now. Maybe we'll bump that up a little bit more today once 9 o'clock hits, because we are going to make some money when that happens. We are going to make a little bit of money. More specifically, we're going to make money because we're going to be selling everything we have in the BGA. Now, speaking of that, we do have some grass still that needs to be processed. We ran out of silage additive, so we need to go to the shop and get some more silage additive. So we will be doing that today, but more than likely that is not going to make any kind of effect until the next episode. I think it's around 20,000 liters of grass that is still in there ready to be processed. So, you know, next episode we'll have a little bit, I guess is how I'll put it. We'll have a little bit of a little bit of methane and electric charge and digestate to put in there, but it won't be as much as normal, right? It looks like they just got disconnected again. Uh-oh. I just sent a message to them, so we'll see what happens here, but it looks like they got disconnected again, unfortunately. Not sure what's going on. Hopefully it's not my connection. Hopefully it's something else that has to be going on here. I don't have any. I'm not downloading anything. I'm not uploading anything, so it shouldn't be mine. But, yeah, weird. I guess it could be still mine, but it shouldn't be. It just looks like Crusty disconnected, but Rusty's still there. Rusty's still moving around, so no idea. No idea what's going on there, but I'll keep an eye on it and see how things are going. Anyway, hopefully you guys are doing well, like I mentioned, right? Things are good, man. I'm getting ready to be out of the country for about a handful of days. Not really by choice, as mentioned many times, but I will be. So if I take a little bit longer to reply to you than I normally would, that is the reason why. I apologize. I do hope you still provide your comments, your insights, your thoughts, all that good stuff. I will reply to them as soon as I get back. But yeah, I've got about, at the time of this recording, I have literally 24 hours basically before I'm gone. Slightly over that, but around that, it makes no difference. So yeah, we'll see how this whole trip goes. I've talked about it a number of times in other series, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting for sure. Looks like we're actually... I talked a long time ago, actually, and I'm not sure if we're actually going to be able to make the change or not. Maybe we will. But I talked about how maybe make an upgrade here to the baler and get something a little bit bigger. But we still have so much of this square bale twine right now that it just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, right? I said that before. I really don't think we should be making that upgrade until we've used up most, if not all of it. And yeah, I'm not sure it's going to happen. And as a matter of fact, I've got some other plans where we might not even use a baler as we move forward, and that might not make a whole lot of sense right now. It will soon enough. We are going to have to buy some equipment here soon for the sugar beets. The sugar beets, we've got a couple of months, I think. I think it's November, I think is when ours are going to be ready, I think. Yeah, I think ours is November. I don't think we planted them in the first month. I think we planted in the second month, which means November. So we've got a couple of months, but it's really not that much if you think about it. So we've got to start, getting some money together so we can start buying some of that equipment. I was hoping that maybe one of those would pop out in the used market. Unfortunately, that just hasn't been the case. There is a baler out here. Not really one that I'd be looking for, though. I think that is Krusty's old baler, I think. He likes to buy stuff and resell them all the time, so I think that's him, but I'm not positive on that statement. But yeah, we're getting all the straw up here. Like I said, this straw is likely going to go directly into the BGA, which, will be a nice little bit of a bonus for us. We're not going to make a ton of money off of it. Obviously, it doesn't make tons of stuff there, but nonetheless, we will make some. I've got the digestate on selling, auto selling here. As a matter of fact, you know what I should look at? Wait a minute. Let me put this back on storing for a minute. The digestate, I think I can actually get out of there. I think I can get some of the other stuff out of there. It's just kind of difficult to get them out of there, and there's not really anything on the commodity here price menu that shows you, what the prices are, because it doesn't really fluctuate all that much. Yeah, the digestate's not really the best to sell right now, although it doesn't really fluctuate all that much. But I'm just going to put it back on storing. I mean, it's not going to make us any money. Even if we sold it at the best time, it still doesn't make us a bunch of money. But we might as well try to wait and sell it to December. That's going to be the better time to sell it. Now, I turned it off distributing to our solid fertilizer plant because there's just plenty in there, and that solid fertilizer plant does take a long time to get through all of that. So there was really no reason for me to continue sending it over there, because I'm not even sure if it's going to get through what we have in there by the end of the series or not. Maybe it does, but I'm not sure. So we'll find out, I guess, as we move along here. But yeah, we're cruising, man. We are cruising. Things are good. While that's happening, let me just show you what we did here really quick. It's very minor. I basically took this greenhouse that was initially over here, moved over to this side, still lined up with everything, and then I put in the same manure excavator or whatever it's called, something along those lines, that we have for the pig one over here, right? We've got the same one over here. I just decided to utilize the same one. Since the other one gave us issues, let's just use one that we know is working. Regardless if the other one would have worked or not, doesn't really matter. It probably would have if I put it right where that one's at, but that one's going to be easier anyway, because I can just, drive a trailer up to it and unload into the trailer. I don't have to buy it, kind of a bucket or anything like that, like I would have with the other one. But, is what it is. So we're going to get the straw up here. Then we're going to plow this field up. We already plowed the other field up over there. And as a matter of fact, I don't know for sure. I was going to say I might put a worker on doing that one, but then again, I might not. So my initial goal here is, I kind of talked about this briefly in the last episode, but my initial goal here is to make this field here into another grass field, and I want it to be offset, and it's going to be offset if we're able to put the grass in today, which is our goal. Specifically, just the way that I'm thinking here, if we have this one growing now, this one is at the second stage, so next month this will be ready to be mowed, and then obviously we'll be kind of alternating these two, and that's going to help us out, I think, big time when it comes to, as we move forward here for the BGA. So that's going to be the goal. And then the field over here directly to my left, that's going to be a wheat field. It's going to probably constantly be a wheat field, because we're going to need that for the chickens, as I talked about, right? The chickens are just chewing through that wheat. I think they're eating around 5,000, maybe a little bit more, liters of wheat a month, which is insanity. But they are producing a lot of eggs for us, so it's actually quite worth it, right? So, but you can see in the top right-hand corner, we don't really have a ton of money. We have $1,257, and that's because of what I talked about, right? I had to move that stuff, which cost me a lot of money. Then I didn't have to, but I decided, you know what? We're going to beef up the animals a little bit more, since I had a little bit of extra money from selling stuff I wasn't really planning on selling. But what I can tell you is most of the stuff that we didn't want to sell, it's still over there, right? It's still over there. So while we ended up losing a little bit in the long run, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. So that's kind of the goal here. That's kind of the end goal, if you will. I mean, really, we got to think about next season, right? We're going to harvest that sugar beet in November, and then we'll re-drill it in the spring, which will be great. But this is kind of the end goal here. This is our end game, is getting these fields set for the last and final harvest, and final, I guess, planting season. And I think we've got a good approach here. I think our vision is right. I think we've got this set to be extremely successful for us. I really do. We've got to buy some more pigs. We probably honestly want to buy more cows too. We probably want to get the other 12 cows in there, because it's going to take them a long time to reproduce. I don't even think they're going to be able to reproduce by the time the end of the series happens, or if they do, it's going to be just before it. So really, we want to probably buy those other 24 cows and stick them in there. So that way we're getting more milk, we're getting more slurry, we're getting more manure out of them. That's really the goal there. We're not going to make a ton of money off those. I fully know that. And I'm okay with that. they're really going to be there to try to produce as much milk as we can off of 24 cows and as much slurry and manure as we can to help continue to beef up that BGA a little bit more, right? That's the main purpose of them. They're not really there to be, a huge money maker for us. They're just going to be there as a supplementary type of situation for us. The pigs are truly my end goal, if you will, from an animal perspective, to make us a ton of money. We've got lots of goats. We've got lots of sheep. They're going to continue to make us money, and that's going to be great. But the pigs, I think, are the end-all, be-all, if you will, from a BGA perspective. That slurry and manure we're going to get out of those is going to be fantastic. Not to mention, whenever it comes time to sell them, they're going to be some good money. All right, so that is all done. So I'm going to go put this away. And then we're going to grab the trailer. We're going to pick up all of that straw. And then after that's done, we'll probably we'll probably plow that field. And then we'll probably put the grass in there. And then we'll kind of end off with putting the canola in this field. I think that's going to be our main objective here today. We've got to do some other minor stuff, as I mentioned, right? We got to sell some chickens so we can make sure they continue to reproduce next month. We've got to probably drop some water off at all of the mills, right? We can take a look at the prices. Again, I don't think anything's good in August. I think we're going to have to wait a couple of months before that's going to be ready, which is fine. We'll also take a look, and I haven't, but we'll also take a look at the sheep and the goats. I don't know how close they are to being maxed out. If they are maxed out, we can sell some of those as well. That's going to be some good money for us too. So, but yeah, the animals are good, man. Things are good. Let's do a quick auto save here. Don't want to lose anything, of course. Pickly pear marmalade. I always feel like I forget that one for whatever reason when we do. But the pigs are in great health. Chickens are in health. Sheep are in great health. Everything's in great health here, right? So everything's looking good. Let's take a peek here before we head back over that way. So the chickens here are at max capacity. I'll just show you one. If you look in the bottom right corner, 1,205. The sheep pasture, we only have 100 out of 215, so we're not quite there on those yet. But chickens, maxed out. We need to sell some, so let's sell some. Let me find the trigger again. I've already lost the trigger. We were just on it. There it is. So we need to sell some of these chickens. $13, $20. So you need to sell some of these ones that are $20. $100 of them will make $2,000. It's not a ton of money, but you know what? It's something, right? It's something. I'm gonna do 2 of them. All right. There we go. We got a little bit more room in there for them to reproduce. Now they're probably going to max that out again by the next month, I would suspect. I would be very surprised if they don't. So the sheeps obviously aren't maxed out. I would think the goats are getting pretty close, though. Could be wrong on that, but I would suspect they're getting pretty close too. But like I said, let's get to work here. We've got some things to do. Let's get to work, and yeah, we'll go from there. All right, we're cruising along here nicely, gang. We still got a little bit of a ways to go here. I had to fill up some more fertilizer. We ran out, but we got that taken care of now. I'm gonna get the rest of the grass field here done, and then more than likely, what we're going to do is at least have the workers start doing the canola field over there in the distance, the one that we plowed at the very beginning. And we're going to do some more of the maintenance stuff that we need to do around the farm. More specifically, I need to bring some more of the wheat over for the chickens. They're okay, but I just want to go ahead and top them off while we're at it. Excuse me. Also, we made $41,000 off of selling all the methane and the electric charge that we got. So not too bad, not too shabby at all. We really are going to need that money, as I mentioned, for the next step, really, for the sugar beets over there. We've got to get the harvesters and things that we need, the toppers, etc. We got a lot of stuff we got to get for that, and it's not going to be cheap. It's going to be somewhere around the $90,000 to $100,000 range, unless we get lucky and find something in the used market between now and then. The reason why I'm holding off buying it is because of that reason. I'm just going to try to be very cognizant of my money and try to be financially responsible and not spend any of that money to make sure that we can get that stuff when the time comes, and just fingers crossed that we get something in the used market that saves us a little bit of money. I don't expect it to be, but fingers crossed nonetheless. Speaking of that, did anything else pop out here? No, it did not. Okay. So nothing in there for us right now, but that's okay. We've got 33%, 277 liters of seed for grass left in here. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough for the canola field or not. If it isn't, we'll have to buy some more. But as you can tell, we had about 3,000 liters of solid fertilizer in that production from the last episode to now. And as I mentioned before, I sold pretty much everything that was in there to help fund the repositioning once again of the items over here, just to make sure we had our cow pen working. So it makes enough, really, probably for us to be able to seed, fields or whatever every month, but not much more than that. It takes a long time for you to be able to get that stuff built up to sell it like we did in the last episode, right? We had quite a bit in there, and that's the reason why we sold it, because we needed the money, and ended up having to sell a little bit more than we wanted to in the end, but that's okay. It's just a very slow-moving process, that production. So that's the main reason why we stopped sending digestate over there. Maybe it gets through all of it. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think it's going to have a hard time getting through what we have over there right now. We'll do another quick autosave, and I'll show you how much is over there right now. It's still a lot. Given how slow it's moving, it just concerns me. There's 66,000 liters in there right now. So it's just a little bit concerning, so I'm not going to send any more digestate over there for the time being. If it ends up being the fact that it does get through all of that before the end of the episode, maybe we send a little bit more over there. But again, my plan is not to send a ton over there, just because it really is just such a slow-moving product. I don't want to have digestate stuck over there that we're not going to make any money off of, right? Even though digestate's not really worth a whole lot, I still don't want it to be over there just stuck in that area and not making us anything when the last episode comes along and we have to go through and sell everything, right? It would be better off just to have the couple $100 we might get out of that digestate than it just sitting in that production waiting to process, right? So it's a little bit more about timing right now, in my opinion, than anything, given the fact that we know we've got just slightly over a year, a little bit less than a year and a half of in-game months remaining for this series. So, we gotta start thinking about that. Sounds like a long time. It is a long time, but at the same time, it's really not. It's only one more harvest season. It's not a long time. Okay, so while we're trying to finish this up, I don't have a ton of time, but we can take a look and see what we're looking like here for the insect flour. Again, December, I knew that. Price fluctuates a decent amount, but it's not anything crazy. The pumpkins, I think, are November-ish? September, next month. Okay, so pumpkins we're going to sell next month. Actually, the price isn't terrible right now, but I'd prefer to get that extra 50, 60 bucks out of each one of those if at all possible, so we'll attempt to do that. We want canola, so we'll get the canola going here. Like I said, maybe it's enough, maybe it's not. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll put this on a worker, And then we're going to utilize our starting tractor to help do a little bit of the maintenance stuff that I talked about already, right? Moving some stuff around and getting things set a little bit. Not a ton of stuff that has to be done, but we do have to do some stuff. I also need to go into the shop and get some silage additives so we can get that going as well. And yeah, let's get the worker going. Perfect. Okay. Now, bit of a prank I played on Crustu. At the start of well, when we loaded it up. He found it before he started his episode. I was hoping he didn't, but a lot of you mentioned that I should take the forklift and put it over here on my little bragging lift, if you will, and just cause a little mayhem for him. So I did do that, and he found out about it before we started recording, but so that's why it's back down on the ground. But it was up in the air just to play a little bit of a prank on him. Look at all this insect flour we have here, gang. Look at it all. We have so much insect flour. This is fantastic for us. That is going to make us so much money. Pickle pear marmalade, October. All right, so we've got some things coming up here in the next couple of months that's going to make us some money, which is, as mentioned, going to be desperately needed when it comes time to harvest the sugar beet farm, or the sugar beet field, excuse me. So let's jump into the old Mercedes-Benz here. And we're going to do a little bit of the maintenance stuff like I talked about that we need to do. First thing we're going to do is drop the water off at all the different productions here. Then we're going to move some of the milk, the goat milk, over into the production. And then we're going to move the wool over into the production as well for clothes. Because we want to keep those going because that makes us good money as well, right? Might also need to move a few of those more of those pallets of flour out of the way so we can continue to produce there. I'm suspecting that it is probably full again, so it may just be kind of waiting for us to be able to open up the space so it can continue to produce. It doesn't have a massive amount of storage space in that mill. There's our fence and everything that we did in the last episode, so nothing really has changed much there. It's just a matter of moving the one greenhouse over to the other side and then putting a new manure heap in. That was really the only change we made there. All of the pallets and everything are still a mess because friends of my friends here, Crustu and Rusty Money Gaming, which I don't think I mentioned, but check out their channels and their playthroughs of this. There's a link down below. But they happily, in the last episode, came over and caused a little mayhem to me. Now, I deserved it. 100% I deserved it. But they are a mess because of that reason. They're all over the place. I suspect they're going to cause more mayhem to me at some point in the near future. So getting those on a trailer is going to be a little bit more of a sloppy situation, especially those ones that cannot be picked up by hand with the liftable bale and pallet mod, like the insect flour, like the aged goat cheese, right? None of those can be picked up by hand, so unfortunately, those are going to probably look a little rough when it comes time to load those up. But as long as they get loaded up and they go and sell, it doesn't really matter. I don't really care what it looks like, right? That insect flour is going to be big time money. Look at that. A little over 2,000 a pop we're going to get off of that. It's going to be a huge lift for us. A huge lift. So much money from that. All right, let's put the water tank back where it belongs. We're going to go grab the other flatbed trailer that we have, because we're going to utilize that to move some things around. Now, I could move the wool by hand, but we're going to utilize that to move the wool down, because I think there's a couple pallets of that. I will, however, move the milk over by hand, and I think I might have that production turned off, so we probably need to turn that back on. Now, you might be asking, why do I turn them off? Well, because you actually incur fees and stuff if you have them on and running. So when there's not really anything in there, because it is a fast-moving production, there's no reason to actually have it on. You're just wasting money, right? So, no, I do have it on. Okay, I thought I had it off. Maybe I turned it on... Maybe I turned it on the beginning of the episode? I don't know. But evidently I have it on. Didn't think I did. Wool. We've got 19 liters of wool in there, so we definitely need to get the wool over here because it's about to run out. And we want that to continue. We want to continue making wool. That's good money. So let's head on up here. Let's try not to run into any animals if at all possible. I know a couple of you yelled at me that I was running into the animals before, but they kind of have a mind of their own. I can't really control them, unfortunately. They go where they want to go. I can try to drive away from them, and they just run right into me. Now, also, the other thing that we need to do that I didn't do, I tried in the time lapse, and I'm sure you saw it. It was not the most elegant looking thing, and it might have been a little bit nauseating. I don't know for sure, but I ended up stopping it because of that reason. But nonetheless, I ended up just dropping the rest of the straw off here at the silage pool because for whatever reason, unloading it from this trailer, it was not accepting it. I had to actually move them off by hand, which was not really the most ideal situation. So we've got the straw on. I want to put this on to distributing, so we're going to send that over to the BGA. That should, in theory, help us out tremendously. And we're going to turn on the straw now. So once the next hour hits, 11 o'clock, we will have straw. Well, actually, it's already over there. Really? Really? Oh, no, we put some in there. Never mind. You're right. Some of that went in there already. Duh. Anyway, we got the straw going now, so there's some straw in there, but the rest of that will be sent over there. So it'll be nice, right? That's going to be extra money for us coming in, and yeah, that'll be good. We'll go ahead and put these back onto storing. We don't need to have those on selling right now because we already sold stuff. And if we want to keep with the rules that we kind of are loosely following, we really can't sell that stuff today because we just put it in there today, right? We got to wait and sell that in the next month. So that's going to be a nice next addition for us next month when that comes, having that extra straw in there to sell as well. Also need to head up to the shop, as I mentioned. We got to pick all that up. Look at all these eggs we got, man. Look at all those eggs. That is going to be so much money when it comes time to sell those. It's going to be great. We need to head up to the shop and get the silage additive as well. Drop into the silage bowl. I think I'm just going to buy one pallet of it. Maybe we could utilize two as we move along here, but I think one will be sufficient for right now. So we're just going to do that. Really need to clean this whole area up, though. All these pallets and everything, they are a mess. My self-diagnosed OCD that I feel like I have is driving me crazy seeing these pallets all over the place. Well, I thought I would attempt to roll this field with this tractor, but obviously it's not going to work. It's a little bit too underpowered for it, but that's okay. We'll just park this over here for right now, and we can take over for the worker here, and we'll finish that up and finish doing the rolling on both these fields, I suppose. It shouldn't take us too long to do that. We've got a little ways left to go here with this field, but we're getting close. I think we're gonna be okay as far as time goes, and I think we're gonna be okay as far as the actual seed and fertilizer that we have in here. I don't see a reason why we would run out of seed. Maybe fertilizer, but we're right here next to the fertilizer production anyway, so not a big deal there. But we got all that stuff taken care of. We got the silage in there, so the grass should be processing again into silage. We got some manure moved as well into the BGA, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that on, at least for the brief period of time. We can turn off the silage right now. We don't have any silage over there. We'll turn that back on towards the end. But yeah, we're moving along here. The straw's going already, so we're making stuff. This is good. Lots and lots of digestator in there, as you can tell. There's a ton of digestate in there. It's 100,000 liters of digestate, I think. Now, at 30,000 a pop, it's 30,000 a pop. I wish it was 30,000 a pop. Good lord, 30,000 a pop. $30 a pop. I mean, you're not really making a whole lot, even if that much in there, right? So Rain is in the forecast. It looks like we probably could have waited and you know, finished off the canola this month, but I just really wanted to get it done last month, so we did get that done at the end of the last episode off camera. I think I mentioned that. We started doing it a little bit. 911 liters of milk is what we got in there right now. So far, the cows are producing a lot more from the manure standpoint than the pigs, but it's probably to be expected. The pigs we have are smaller pigs. They're the most, I'm not wording this properly. They're the oldest ones we can buy within the actual menu itself, but they still are significantly younger than the cows you can buy. You can buy cows that are, you know, at the highest age group, if you will. Now, I said we were going to buy some more pigs today, and that is the goal. We are going to do so. We don't want to buy too many, though. As I mentioned, I've got a lot of things to pay for, but given the fact that we've got a lot that we're going to be selling here over the next couple of months, we're going to be okay. We'll probably spend another 10 grand, I think, on pigs today. That'll get us somewhere around the 29,000 range, which is going to be good. Not going to worry about buying the cows yet. I will buy more cows when we start selling all this stuff here, when the winter months come. That's when we're going to upgrade the cows to a little bit of a higher standpoint. Like I mentioned, it takes them a very long time to reproduce. So 18 months, older than 18 months can reproduce, but it's going to take them a while, I think, before they're able to reproduce. But I guess we'll see what happens. Since we're not going to buy any today, I guess we'll see what happens next month when it comes to the cows, right? Now, you might be saying, what are you going to do with the milk? Well, I've had a lot of ideas. We're not going to have time, I don't think, to do what my initial real thought and plan was for the cows, which was to combine that with the eggs and the flour to make, you know, some kind of a bakery type of item. Wasn't 100% positive on which one I would pick, but something from that genre of production. We're just not going to be able to get it enough to do that since we're ending the series here, you know, in another, well, as I've mentioned many times already this episode, in another year and a half, we're just not going to have the time to do that. So my main goal now with the milk is I'm going to kind of pivot a little bit. We do have our aged goat cheese production, well, whatever that is. It's a milk type of production. We should be able to take some of that, the cow milk from that, and turn it into something from there. So that's going to be our goal. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to make with it yet, but we'll utilize that to our advantage. So instead of it only being utilized for aged goat cheese, we'll be able to utilize it for something else. Probably makes it worth our money a little bit more by going that approach as well, right? So 71 liters of solid fertilizer. We may just run out of solid fertilizer, as a matter of fact, here, gang. We might. Okay, so while we're going down here, let's just take a look at the dairy here. So yeah, we can do butter from milk. You can do it for goat as well. We could do cheese. We don't have any sugar right now, but maybe we could make sugar when the sugar beets are ready. Yeah, so it's looking like, yeah, we can make some kind of a cheese from it, which is going to be good, because I'm sure that we can find something in there that's going to be worth a lot of money, right? I'm sure we will find something. I think we're going to run out of fertilizer here before we get done. As a matter of fact, I know we're going to. So I'm going to actually turn around here. Watch out, sheepers. I'm going to drive right through you. We're going to go this way and hope we get to the end here without running out. If we can do that, then we can pick up the fertilizer and then touch up this end here, this headland pass, if you will, that was not touched. Now, I didn't really look to see. I did on that one over there, but I didn't really look to see if any of these need lime. They probably do. Oh, no, it doesn't need lime. Okay, interesting. We are going to run out before we get to the end of this. Dang. We're, like, literally just going to miss it. Yep. literally going to miss it right at the edge here. We're going to be right at the edge, and we're going to miss it. Told you. Man, that sucks. I thought we were going to make it. Let's get some more out of here. The nice thing is we're not paying anything for our fertilizer now as we move forward, right? It's the nice thing. I can just go to here and fill it up and... All right, evidently I'm not underneath it. Okay. Let's get a little bit closer then. Okay. All right, that should do it. Nice. We'll top this off. We'll go to the end. And both of these fields are done with the exception of being rolled. And we're going to roll them reluctantly. I might have to do some of that off camera, but we're going to roll them. You know how much I love rolling. Still would be nice, just not really in the budget, but it would be nice to have some kind of a power wash sprayer of some sort to clean off the equipment. Our equipment is, some of our equipment at least, is very, very dirty. One thing we'll do really quick here after I finish this before we start doing the rolling is we'll do a bit of a flyby over the guys and see what they're up to. We haven't done that in a couple of episodes, as I've mentioned many times before. I prefer you just to go and watch their videos to see what they're up to, but it is nice just to do a bit of a flyby overhead just to see what's going on, see if they're trying to make any kind of trickery of any sort. Always fun to check that out. But definitely check out their videos and watch their playthroughs to see what they're doing. We watch each other's, so it's not like I'm going to miss something specifically, but during the time of actually doing the recording, it is nice just to see what they're up to, if they're trying to pull any kind of tricks of any sort on us. So for the time being, I need to move that back in there, but for the time being, I'm going to put this here. Now, another reason why I decided to put the grass where it is because, well, quite frankly, we're going to be doing a lot of turning around here at the BGA and stuff when we're dropping off the manure and things like that, so it just makes sense to have the grass field here, so I'm not worried about killing any crop. Probably would be okay, no matter what, right? I probably wouldn't kill any crop specifically, so long as I was paying attention, right? But, just to take that completely out of the equation, probably nice to do, right? Alright, print that on. Let's go up here and do a bird's eye view and see what our friends are up to here. Why are we moving so slow? What is happening here? It's not normally as slow as we go. Alright, so Rusty's been heavy on mowing. He did put in the production for the coffee beans, so that's going to make him some decent money. I know he did that a couple episodes back, I think. He's been harvesting. Everyone's been harvesting here. Krusty's taking care of the grass there. Also, he's got his worker back. Sorghum must have been ready to harvest. He's re-drilling. He's not even plowing it though. He's re-drilling it directly. I don't know if he's got a sprayer now, maybe, or what. Speaking of this, we do need a slurry tank, and we're also going to need a tanker that can handle milk. The what we have currently does not allow us to handle milk. Whoops. So we're gonna need something for that as well. But there are some smaller ones in there, which is going to be perfect for us. I mean, we've got 12 cows right now, eventually 24. They're not going to be making a ton where we need something massive, right? So realistically, what we'll end up getting is one of these smaller tankers here, like this one, which can hold water and milk and everything else. But I know we already have a water tank, and I would love for it to be one of these ones that had the mod to it, but it's not one that has the mod to it. It's just a standard water one, so we can only do so much with it for the time being. Maybe we upgrade, maybe we don't. I don't know. Lower priority right now. The milk and stuff, yeah, we could take it over there and start producing stuff now, but there's not a ton there, so we can kind of hold off on doing that for a little while and do that whenever it makes sense, whenever we got enough milk in there that we can start actually producing stuff with it. But for the time being, it's not really needed. We can wait to these winter months when we start selling all this stuff and making a lot of money for that. Same with the slurry, really. As much as I would like to, have it now so we can actually start, putting that into the BGA like we did the manure, it's not something that has to be done. It can wait. It's a fast-moving production. It doesn't take long. As a matter of fact, I would assume, yep, the manure is already done. So, not a big deal. In my eyes, at least, it's not a big deal. So, we'll just keep it rolling. But anyway, I'm going to leave the episode at this point. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you smash that like and subscribe button on the case you've yet to do so. Thanks to my members. I cannot thank them enough. Make sure you check out my second channel. Check out my Discord. All of that stuff is down below in the description. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for your continued support. There will not be bonus material this time, so those of you that might be waiting around to the end, I promise, no more bonus material. There's no reason to have any bonus material here. Those were not by design. They were not by choice. It was just what had to happen. So, thanks for watching until the end, though. I appreciate each and every single one of you, and we'll see you next time.